Robert, where were you born?
I was born in Wiscalia, or I probably in the hospital, but it's Wiscalia.
Okay. And who are your parents? What were their occupations?
Their occupation was farming.
Okay.
There's Henry and Agnes Hollarman.
Okay. And who are your siblings?
I have one sister, Ann.
Okay.
Rockers.
And did they serve in the military?
Yes. My brother-in-law is a Korean War Purple Heart veteran.
Okay. How do they feel about joining the service?
It was a great experience for him, but he had it a lot rougher than I did.
Yeah.
Because he was in Korea and the rough of it.
What primary school did you attend?
What was that?
What was your primary school? What school did you attend?
It would have been St. Joseph's school, grade school.
Okay.
And I got my GED in the Army.
Okay. And did you hold any jobs before entering the military?
Yes. I was working as a hard hand at when they built Palma High School.
Okay. And were you drafted or did you enlist?
I was drafted.
Okay. Why did you join? You were drafted. And which branch did you enter?
I was in the Army.
Okay. And how did you get to your initial point of entry?
Where was it?
Yeah.
It was in Camp Crowder, and then we went down to Louisiana.
Okay.
For basic.
Okay. And what was your most vivid memory of training?
Well, it was Christmas week, and some were married, and all this and that, and everybody was a little bit homesick, and but it was,
Yeah, it was good.
It's just the way it was.
And what was the best part?
Oh, the friends you meet, and all the way around, it's friends I still have that I served with and that I was with, and it was a great experience.
Yeah. What would you say would be the worst part of your experience?
I would say being in Korea, it was pretty well shot up, and I was next to Seoul, and I felt sorry for the people there.
Yeah.
It was, they had it rough.
Yeah. And does any particular instructor stand out to you?
Particular instructors?
Yeah.
You had, in basic training, my drill sergeant came from Korea. He knew what it was all about, and he wanted to do his best for us.
And what was your first assignment after basic training?
After basic training, I was with the MPs, and I pretty well worked a checkpoint. And we had a checkpoint on a bridge heading toward the front line.
Okay.
And I never saw the front line, but I worked a checkpoint quite a bit, but among various duties.
And would you ever want to be on the front line, or would you not choose to be on the front line?
I never saw the front line.
Okay. And did you receive any specialized training?
I did some MP training, but what everybody else would have gone through.
Yeah. Okay. And did you qualify with equipment?
Yes. We pretty well went through everything that the Army had to offer.
Yeah. And what was your hardest part of training?
Oh, it was, like going through the infiltration course and different things like that, but I made it.
Yeah. And did you receive any promotions?
I just, PFC is as high as I got. Our company didn't have a lot of rank.
And what was the hardest part of your military lifestyle for you to adapt to?
I'd say I can't think of anything that was just
It's fine.
being away from home, but
And what do you think? What would be the easiest part to adapt to?
Well, the friends you meet, and you
Yeah.
know, you just all the way around the experience.
How did your combat change your experience for life?
Well, it made you realize how good we have it in the United States.
Yeah. And how did you stay in touch with family and friends?
Mainly with letters
Okay.
and like that.
And what did you do for recreation or when you were off duty?
We didn't have a lot of recreation in Korea. We probably we had a real type projector where you could see movies in the evening, and when you were off duty, and played a lot of cards,
Yeah.
and we were kept pretty busy the whole time I was over there.
And do you recall any humorous or unusual events?
Well, we always had a joke teller and somebody that made light of things, and it was a lot of fun. I can't think of anything in particular, but you always had something of that going on.
And was there something you did for good luck?
I didn't really give it too much of a thought.
Yeah. And what was the best part of your experience?
The friends I met and the experiences I shared and the parts I saw, the only regret I have is that I didn't take more advantage of the things that I saw. I was working with the Koreans a lot, and I could have asked them a lot of questions that I wish now I would have asked them,
Yeah.
and I didn't do it.
And do you recall the day your service ended?
When I got out, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes. I got off the boat and in Seattle,
Okay.
and went to Fort Carson, Colorado,
Okay.
and got my release there.
And how were you received by your family and community?
Well, they were all glad to see me, I'm sure.
Yeah. And how did you readjust to civilian life?
It was about the same old as before, but my friends that I went or ran around with before were all either married or going with somebody steady, so I had to kind of make new friends and all that.
And did you go back to school?
Yeah, I went in on the GI Bill after we got married.
Okay. And did the GI Bill support your education?
What was that?
Did the GI Bill support your education?
Yes. When I had a job first when I got out of the service in the cabinet shop, and then we got married. I met a girl and we got married, and after that I started farming, and I went on the farm training.
And how did service change you?
It helped me a lot in that I was a bashful country boy before, and well, I still am. But anyway, it made you just something about it that made you a lot better.
And did you continue any of your friendships after service?
Yes,
Okay.
I was sending cards to probably 7 or 8 right when I came out, and it kind of dwindled down to 2 families that we keep in touch with now yet, and this was great. One was from Dodge, Nebraska, and one's from Sanborn, Iowa, and they came to see me, and I've seen them several times, and it's been great.
Yeah. And how did your service affect the way you relate to others?
Well, I'm sure it helped me.
Yeah. And did you join a veteran organization?
Yes, the American Legion. I'm probably a 65-year member.
Really? Do you attend any reunions?
No, I regret that.
Yeah.
I was invited to them, and I didn't. It wasn't that important to me at the time, and now I regret that.
And what were some of your life lessons that you learned from the military?
I imagine discipline and working together, and whatever it is. But I enjoyed the whole thing.
Yeah. And how has your military service impacted your feelings about war and the military in general?
Well, being as I was in Korea and saw the division in Korea, what would have happened if the United States wouldn't have stepped in? Well, of course, we were part of the United Nations, see, there were other countries in too, but we had the firepower and the main force of it. But we probably wouldn't be living in this country as a free nation if it wouldn't been stopped in Korea.
Yeah. And what message would you like to leave for future generations?
It'd be that always take advantage of everything you have and have faith in God and let Him be your leader. That's always important. And do the best you can, whatever you have.
Okay. And where were you sent after basic training? Or where were you sent after basic for advanced training?
I went to New Jersey for advanced basic, and from there we flew back home for 5 days, and then I boarded troop training in Jefferson City and went to Fort Lewis, Washington, and there boarded ship along with probably over 3,500 other soldiers.
Okay.
And we were on the boat 14 days and went to Sasebo, Japan and got our rifle and our equipment and stuff like that. Got back on the boat for another 3 days and ended up in Korea.
And do you agree that you were put in the right position for your advanced training?
Did what?
Do you believe that you were put in the right position from when you were sent on for advanced training?
Yes.
Okay. And what skills do you remember that you were taught during advanced training?
Well, it's hard to say.
Okay. That's fine. That's fine. What was happening in the world when you were in the military?
They were fighting for 2 months after I got there, and it was kind of, everybody was relieved to see their missus signed.
And how long did you serve?
I was in Korea for 18 months.
Okay. And what was your reason for getting out?
To getting out?
Yeah. What was your reason to getting out?
To get out, my time was up.
Oh, well.
People that were on the front, or soldiers that were on the front, they didn't serve as long as I did.
Okay.
Some of them served for 9 months.
Were the places you slept comfortable?
I was fairly comfortable.
What is your favorite memory? Do you remember your favorite memory?
Well, I have a lot of memories. I can't recall just any certain ones.
And what advice would you give someone for joining the military?
Get all you can out of it. It's you'll remember it all your life, and it's the companions you meet, and it's something you'll never forget.
And did you know anyone in the military before you drafted?
I went in with 7 local boys.
Okay. And what trait that you have to do to think helped you most in the military or most in the Army?
I guess the discipline and that would pretty well be a lot of it, and do your job and work together.
How heavy do you think all your gear was?
How heavy?
Yeah, like if you had to, was it like extremely heavy?
I thought it was in the 30 pounds.
Okay. And if you could, would you ever join the military again?
I think everyone should be in the military for the training. I think it'd be something that every boy needs.
Okay. Let me get some more questions here. And how did your military experiences affect your life again?
What was that?
How did your military experiences affect your life?
I thought it was great. I met great friends, and it seems like everything you do, it kind of like we had the Legion get together on Veterans Day, and you meet with some of your old friends and stuff like that, and it's great.
Yeah. And how did combat change your experience in war?
It made you appreciate the United States.
Yeah. Okay. Alright. Let me see here. And what was your job whenever you began in the military?
When I was
whenever you were
in Korea,
Yeah, what was your job?
I did a lot on the checkpoint, and later on I did various duties with guarding and anything that came along. They kept us pretty busy with different things.
And can you recall any engagements that you were in?
Well, there was some scary times, but I lived through them.
Yeah. Alrighty. If you graduated from high school, what high school did you graduate from, and what year was it?
I had GED for high school.
Okay, okay.
I got a diploma from FAMA, but it was GED. I got it in service.
And how long did it take you to reach that rank?
I got it as soon as I got to Korea.
Oh, okay. Alright. I think it might be. What type of training or school did you have?
In the Army?
Yeah.
I did the military police training,
Okay.
along with basic.
Long basic training. Is there anything that you would like to add that we haven't covered?
I can't think of that much. I always regret, like I believe I've said before, is that I did not get more out of my experience. I saw a lot and did a lot, but at the same time, there's a lot more I could have done.
Yeah.
I worked with the Koreans practically every day, and I didn't bother to ask them the questions I wish now I would have asked them, about their family life and this and that. I just kind of just worked with them, and that was it.
And what do you want people to know about? What would you want people to know or remember about your story?
To always do the best you can and put God first, and work with other people, and everybody has their own idea, but work together.
Okay. What was training with the equipment like?
It was a big interesting. It was very interesting.
Yeah. Would you say it would be hard? Was it hard interesting? Like, was it hard to get used to the equipment?
Well, not really. You had your rifle, you had your BAR, You had your burp gun, you had your bazooka, you had, you got a little briefing on about every piece of equipment that was there. I'm sure things are a lot different now than they were 65 years, 70 years ago.
And did you say that you would join it again? Would you join the military again?
Being I don't know if I would have or not, but I was drafted, so I've never given that a thought. But I think it's a very great experience.
Okay.
It did a lot for me.
Yeah. And were you sent back home after basic training, or did you have a?
After basic training, I got home for 5 days, I think it was, and then we went on to Washington.
Okay. And what was the weather like? Was it always?
Korea's cold.
Yeah.
And wet in summer. They have their moonsun season, and no matter what kind of raincoats you have or what you have, you're going to be wet.
So you were constantly cold and wet?
Well, yes. But now the cold, I was in a position where we always had good clothes, and I did not suffer from the cold too bad. But it does get cold. If you'd be on the front line, it'd be rough.
And what was the food like?
Well, I went in the Army at 145 pounds. I got out at about 180, so that kind of tells you. They always fed you plenty. And over in Korea, you had your dried eggs, dried potatoes.
And what was your favorite, would you say?
Oh, it was all good. You know, like I say, they had good cooks.
Yeah.
And they did the best of it. And we had always plenty to eat.
And do you recall any of your best friends from the Army?
Yes, I still mix with different ones of them.
Okay. And how much did you guys sleep? What was your?
Well, sleeping was a problem. See, we worked around the clock, and I very seldom got a night's sleep. We did work regular hours, but we got a lot of different things, like we had to check the trains that went north for the civilians, and when that train would go in, we had to go north. We had to check all the trains, and we did a lot of different duties like that, or all like when they exchanged the prisoners, we had to guard their train tracks that they wouldn't. The South Koreans had that much of a hatred for the North Koreans, which you can't blame them, and they would have derailed the train if we wouldn't have guarded the train while they came through.
And did you like guarding the train?
Oh, it was interesting. You know, all you had to do is we weren't a part of the POWs at all. We just when they came through our area, we had to be responsible for their security.
And was there a higher rank than what you were?
Oh yes, if way up, but I did mainly guarding or the ordinary stuff, and in our company, if you were a radio technician or a desk sergeant or something like that, you'd get up to corporal.
Okay.
But you know, there's a lot of ranks higher than that.
And do you wish you were up higher?
Well, it would pay more.
Okay. And what was your first assignment after basic training? First assignment after basic training?
Well, I went right over to Korea.
Okay.
That boat ride's real interesting.
Think. And did you hate anybody that you were in the army with?
Oh, there were differences, but I can't say I hated them.
Okay.
If I'd have seen a North Korean, I would have hated him, but
Alright. And did you see what trait that you had think helped you most in the military?
well, as far as the military service, those traits wouldn't have helped me except for the experience in how you deal with other people.
Okay. Oh, I was supposed to ask this at the beginning. What's your last name?
Holterman,
And can you spell that?
Holterman.
And first name?
Robert,
Yeah.
Robert.
And middle initial?
F.
Okay. Thank you. And did you have any recollections of Korea?
If I could go back and had my own Jeep and drive the way where I was, I would like to have done something like that. But yeah, I have a lot of recollections of it. But it's completely changed. They have skyscrapers and
Yeah.
mode of transportation, the whole bit. They're probably equal, if not ahead of the United States on their standard of living.
And do you wish you could be something besides a guard, or is that what you wanted to be? Or is that what you wanted to
No,
be?
they assigned me to that.
Oh, okay.
I didn't ask for it.
And what do you wish people knew about veterans? What do you wish more people knew about veterans?
Well, let's see. It's not the sacrifices that they make. Now, I was single, but when you're married and start having kids and you don't get in touch with them, that gets pretty rough. And I hope people understand that. Which I think most of them do.
Yeah. Do you think serving in the military would be harder now or harder back then?
It'd be completely different. At the time I was in, like we ran the checkpoint, I never would have thought about suicide bombers or hitting you, running over you or anything like that, or bombing up the bridge.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought of it. And the sophisticated equipment, I don't know if I'd be smart enough to run it. At that time it was on your feet, and you just roughed it.
Yeah.
Where now it's you push buttons.
Yeah. And what ranks for most of your friends while you were serving?
Oh, they varied from PFC to sergeant.
And did you have any relatives that were in the Army?
My brother-in-law, he had a Purple Heart,
Okay.
Dave Rockers. And I had cousins that were in the service.
Okay. And did they like it?
Well, I guess the same as I did. It's a good experience.
It said that basic training. It is said that in basic training the individual is broken and the serviceman is created. Would you agree with this?
Is what?
Basic training, or it is said that basic training the individual is broken and the serviceman is created. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I think so. Yes.
Okay. And were you in combat support, or combat service support role?
I was not actually in combat. We got the tail end of the combat. We had harassment and guerrilla attack we worry about and things like that, more so than I wasn't in the actual combat part of it.
And what equipment did you deal with? What equipment did you deal with?
Well, the M1 rifle, the BR rifle, machine gun, your different bazooka. I mean, we just fired them for so you knew how, and driving a Jeep, things like that.
And would you say there was a bad meal that you've ever had? Like your worst meal?
Oh, one in our outfit rode up quartermaster, and we had some pretty thin picking for a couple of weeks after that. So we learned not to pick on quartermaster.
And did you ever get back with the people that you served with?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I've had some good friends that we communicate with. It's great.
Did you ever think you would be part of the military in high school?
Uh, well, I guess the Korean War was, so we knew it was coming.
And so you did think you would get drafted?
Yeah, it was the only way you wouldn't have been if you didn't pass your examination.
Okay. And were you and all your friends drafted? Or was it just...
Some enlisted before they, when they saw they were going to have to be drafted, they enlisted in the Navy or Air Force or something like that. But that was probably a 4-year stint.
Yeah. And would you say Army? Would you say Army is the best? Or the best?
I guess we all think our branch is the best.
And is the front line the hardest job? Front line, is that the hardest job?
Well, the front line, that's where at that time, now I think things are different. You don't know where you're is the most dangerous. But at that time, you were hand to hand up on the front line.
Yeah.
And that was rough.
And were you ever scared that you were going to go to the front line?
No, our company was pretty stable. We had our position, that's where we were going to stay.
And you in the back, you said? You were in the back?
I was at Seoul. I was kind of in the background. We had a lot of the different support groups were in that area.
And did you receive a lot of action? Or was it just...
Oh, I saw you could see it, it's like lightning in the north.
Yeah.
From where we were. And we'd have a little plane like the Bedtech Charlie would come over. He'd fly through the mountains and the radar couldn't detect him, and they'd harass us, and they'd throw their bombs just over the side and go head back on north, and things like that.
And did any of your friends die?
No.
None of your close friends died?
No.
Were you at any time scared that you were about to die?
Oh, scared? I don't know about scared I was going to die.
Yeah.
I was scared a few times.
Did you always have one sleeping place? Was it always the same place?
We were real lucky. I'd say 9 out of 10 slept in tents. And we had an old factory, and we stayed in. And we were fairly comfortable. And then I had 3 months that we on a security deal up in the mountains, and that was in the Quonset hut. And we had an all stove in it, so I was fairly comfortable. And when you go out on guard, we didn't have electricity or anything like that. You take a Coleman lantern going up to your guardhouse and put a army blanket over your knees or something like that, and put that Coleman lantern between your legs, and you kind of keep halfway warm. But we were dressed warm. It wasn't too bad.
And would you ever like fall asleep on the job?
No, I didn't.
Were you ever close to?
Well, I guess I could have been. I don't know.
And how long does basic training last?
We had 8 weeks of basic, and then 8 weeks of advanced basic.
Okay. And was advanced basic much harder?
No, it was easier.
Oh, it was easier?
Yeah.
Okay.
You had your getting ready for combat in basic training.
Okay. Did you ever hate a person that was in charge? An instructor? Did you ever hate any?
Oh, you couldn't help but kind of, they kind of tried to get under your skin.
And what was, did you ever get punished for anything like that?
Oh, minor things, I guess, like a few extra push-ups, things like that. Or run an extra mile.
And what was a basic day like for you?
Well, you get up early in the morning and eat and go out on a train. You walk. At that time, you walked. I don't think they walk anymore. I think they say that's a waste of time to walk. But you'd walk every place you went at that time. And you'd go to your rifle range, or you'd go to the different elements, for training.
And do you think rifle training was fun?
Oh, it was great, yeah.
Did it help you a lot?
Well, I guess it did. You shot a lot of ammunition.
And you were the front line shoot more ammunition.
What was that?
You were the front line. Which one shot more, do you think?
Oh, they shot a lot of out of the bunkers. They would have shot a lot of machine guns and things like that. And then everybody had their rifle, and we had a pistol. We had the rifle with us at all times. When you ate or went to church or wherever you did, you had your rifle was right with you. But now my pistol, I would get it when I was on duty.
And how tired did your legs get whenever you guys were just walking everywhere, do you think?
Oh, it was kind of a training that you wouldn't get sore feet to learn how to have comfortable boots and stuff like that. It wasn't that bad.
So
I don't remember the mileage anymore. Maybe at the longest, I don't know if we ever went to a 21-mile walk. I think 14 maybe.
So you just got used to it?
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. You didn't walk that far just to go to a rifle range or something like that. You just walked to wherever the rifle range was.
And what did you guys do in your free time?
In Korea there was no real activity or anything like that. Everything was pretty well flat, really.
Yeah.
And you played a lot of cards, and you really didn't have that much free time. Or I did in the 3 months I was up in the mountains. There was a secret deal up there that we guarded. It was run by the Air Force, and we did the guarding. And there you'd be on 3 hours and off 8, and 2 days a week you'd come down to base camp to clean up, and if you once, your laundry done, stuff like that. But they brought us 2 meals a day up there.
Oh. And which one would you prefer, the mountains or just on the ground, basic?
Well, nobody bothered you up there. We didn't have any inspection or anything like that, and it was, I guess, about like camping out. And that was in the dead of winter, so that helped me. We could protect ourselves pretty good as part of the elements when I was.
Do you ever recall it being hot up there, or hot?
It was steamy, but the cold was worse in Korea than the heat.
Okay.
And it did rain a lot in the monsoon season.
And would you prefer being cold or hot in the war?
Well, if you were out on the front line or in the snow and stuff, you could it could get you, but the wet you could tolerate. But I didn't have it that bad on either one.
Okay. Alright, I think we're done.
Well,
Thank you for your service.
I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Now you edited some of the parts that I screwed up too bad.
No, that's fine. You did good. You did good.
Well, he's a good student.